not just saying these things because you're upset. You're saying it literally to hurt me. And how could you love me and call me a bitch repeatedly? And he's like, well, you call me a bitch. And I said, yeah, I have, but it's not a trigger for you.
Rivah TV. What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I'm back again with another video. So I was actually sent this clip from the Cutlers court. I think it's like a regular court show, but I think it might be relationship based, like almost like divorce court, where this woman, I guess, basically had her discrepancies with her husband, and she brought it there. I'm going to go ahead and play the clips and pause, play, give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, and my opinion on this entire situation.
No man should ever call a woman a bitch. No man. Okay. And I'm your wife.
So she's coming in, immediately saying that, no man should ever call a woman out of her name. Specifically, she used the B word. And she's saying, like, this is my problem with him, especially because I'm married to him. Like, he should never call me out of my name, which is not wrong at all, right? There's nothing wrong with setting a certain boundary of respect in a marriage. Like, respect goes both ways. A woman should be respected as well as the man should be respected. And, especially when you guys are disagreeing or arguing, there should be a certain level of respect still there.
And you've been through previous relationships, and I'm asking you what happened, what you said to these previous women, and it was nothing. I walked off, but your wife, you can call a bitch.
So this is an important part of the story. So she's saying, like, I guess with previous situations, he never escalated to this level when he was in other relationships. He never called these women out of their name. And the only woman that he's ever called out of her name, he's saying, is his wife. I guess that's what she's kind of like alluding to.
Not just once, not just twice, not just in one setting. I remember it's been multiple times in these past 7 months. And it's a trigger for me because when I was younger, I was called that and abused. So, oh, wow.
Now, again, completely understandable. Right? Like, that is something that is connected to your trauma, where it's not just a fleeting word. It's not just a derogatory word. It's something that's going to hurt you in a certain level, in a certain way, because of your past and what you've been through. Again, completely understandable.
It's really a trigger for me. And it's not like I didn't sit there and tell my husband these things before. So you're not just saying these things because you're upset. You're saying it literally to hurt me. And how could you love me and call me a bitch repeatedly?
Again, wrong for that. Okay, keeping it real, you're wrong for that, especially if you know that this is a trigger or whatever the case is, if, you're using that, specifically to hurt. I mean, that's what people do when they argue, right? There's blows. There's going to be stuff that's said to you to make you feel bad. That's like the whole intention of it, but wrong again. Like I said, you're wrong for that.
Like, you don't do that to people you love. Like, and he's like, well, you call me a bitch. And I said, yeah, I have, but it's not a trigger for you. It's not detrimental for you.
Now, this is where she lost me. Okay, this is where she lost me. This woman gets in front of this space, has the audacity to talk about her how hurt she is and her traumas and her pain behind the word, and she was abused, and while she was abused, they were calling her that name, and so it's like a trauma thing for her, and it triggers her, and all the above, only to tell on herself and then say, well, he says, you say it to me. Yeah, I can call you that because it's not a trauma response to you. If your trauma and that trigger was so bad, you would never use that word against anyone else. You wouldn't agree to it. You would have taken and removed that word from your vocabulary.
Like, you don't do that to people you love. Like, and he's like, well, you call me a bitch. And I said, yeah, I have, but it's not a trigger for you. It's not detrimental for you.
But this just speaks to so many things that women do in relationships. Number one, it speaks to how women will tell a story, and if nobody else is around and somebody hears that story, they will get a completely different narrative to the truth. Somebody would be like, oh my gosh, what a horrible husband. What a bad guy. Why would he do that to you? What a mean person. Only to find out y'all be arguing, you call him that, and he turn around and say, I'm calling you that. You like how that feels? And now you're the victim.
It's really a trigger for me. And it's not like I didn't sit there and tell my husband these things before. So you're not just saying these things because you're upset. You're saying it literally to hurt me.
That's wild. First of all, that's your husband. You're complaining about your husband, but you're emasculating him as a wife. You talk about how, with the other women that he was with, that he walked away.
And you've been through previous relationships, and I'm asking you what happened, what you said to these previous women, and it was nothing. I walked off, but your wife, you can call a bitch.
Yeah, maybe he was able to walk away from those women because they weren't emasculating him or they weren't calling him out of his name. How dare you? and then gonna get up in front of them and start boohoo crying.
You're not just saying these things because you're upset. You're saying it literally to hurt me. Hey, how could you love me and call me a bitch repeatedly?
How could you love him and you say it? How could you respect him and you say it? How could you want to be with him and you say that? And a lot of women don't like to hear it. They don't like to hear this, but this is a truth. This is not 100% foolproof, but I've seen it a lot. A lot of women do things, and then they want to dictate the response that comes back to them. They feel like they have the right to dictate to you how you are allowed to react after they have already given you a certain reaction. You disrespect this man, you probably play in his face, you probably say all kind of stuff. And then you want to tell him he can't say whatever he wants back to you after you already opened the door. Once you open the door, the gloves are off. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to reason about. There's nothing to consider. You already opened that door. But you're the victim. A lot of women don't realize that the doors for betrayal, the doors for all those things that they claim that they get from men, a lot of the women open it first. Women claim, oh, I can't believe he stepped out of the relationship. Whole time you was behind his back telling all his business to people. Same betrayal. I can't believe that he triggers me and he calls me out of his name. Whole time you emasculating him and calling him out of his name. Same level. And I can almost guarantee, okay, I don't know these people, but I can almost guarantee that she probably started the majority of their issues and problems. And then is only on the receiving end of the seeds that she has sown in the relationship. And she just don't want to deal with it. You know what they say, condition and can't take it? I feel like that's what we're seeing take place. In my opinion. I think that's awful. Awful. Awful that you would create this narrative to act like, you know, you don't know what's happening. And then it's just so ironic that you're the one. This man didn't even have to talk to clear his name. You're the one who says, oh, yeah, you know, I say it to him sometimes too. Yeah. But it's not a trigger for him, so I should be able to say it. No one should be able to say it. If it hurt you so bad, like I said before, that word should not even be in your vocabulary. You shouldn't even know that word no more. Unless that's only an exaggeration to prove your victimhood. That's a card that you pull out to say, oh, please, I'm a victim. Even after you do all the damage. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this entire situation. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.
Rivah TV.